Shout out to my friend Tyzy Killer, who captured this Spider-Man footage for me about 5 years ago. I remember we were doing some experiments and we were trying to beat the old Spider-Man games, and we never did anything with it. And I found the footage in my Dropbox when Dropbox emailed me and said, hey, we're about to close this account. And I was like, what's in here? And so this just brought back a lot of memories, and I thought I'd just put it out here up front in this video. I have a comment that showed up on my channel that I wanted to go ahead and highlight because I think it really does, in a sense, accentuate a lot of the conversational pieces. And I've actually gotten questions that this comment highlights in different forms in the past. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you this one comment because I can almost guarantee you that I can show you probably 3 if I was meticulous enough to go back and look through my comments. I can show you 3, 5, or maybe even 10 of them. And the comment said this in one of my videos where I said that Game of the Year means nothing. The data and all of that stuff shows which companies are doing well and are healthy. And somebody asked me and said, why would a, in quote, gamer care more about these companies' live service revenue streams than Game of the Year caliber games? I feel like you're fighting a pitched battle against a handful of trolls. No one plays on PlayStation because it's the market leader. You get that, right? I don't know what you're talking about. I play on PC. By the way, it's interesting that you talk about Bloodborne all the time, but you seem not to realize that Elden Ring was Game of the Year 2022. And here's the question. Do you even game, or are you too busy hating on PlayStation? So I said, I replied and I said, I have almost 400 hours on Elden Ring. I have about 336 on PC, about 40 on PlayStation. My favorite theme song is Morgoth the Omen King. I listen to that song. I just jam out to it. And I'm a monotone gamer. I will pick one game and I'll play that game for hours, hundreds of hours. You guys have seen my Gotham Knights footage. I'm on a loop on that game. Heavy focus on a number of titles, and then I'll probably go back through my backlog. I make YouTube videos, got a full-time job, got a family on top of all of that. This question is a question that's actually trying to test and see if I'm concerned about playing video games or if I'm actually here to actually expose PlayStation for the bereft company that it is. I think we've gotten to the point where I've stayed on PlayStation's neck and no longer can anybody deny the reality. So now we're in the place of, do you actually play games? And I've seen a lot of content creators fall, into that trap, and, they give people their gamer tag and say, yeah, here's my gamer tag. I do play games. Even if I didn't play a single game, because I'm not one to tolerate distractions or, red herrings, because this is a red herring. You do know that, guys, right? This is actually trying to distract from the reality. And even if I didn't play a single game, the question is, the revenue streams, the data, the, sales figures that we're pointing to, are they wrong? If they're wrong, then that's exactly what you should be dealing with, because when we pose a case and say, well, PlayStation needs to step it up, because I'm not hating on PlayStation. You see, a lot of these PlayStation fanboys, you cannot conceive a world where somebody will criticize PlayStation. You don't know that I'm actually a PlayStation player, and I keep telling you guys, I'm the PlayStation fan you didn't see coming. You didn't account for me. You're used to being in a circle, where everyone just has like an echo chamber-like thought process because they're fans of the whole platform. So the criticism is a little jarring. Yes, I have about 40 hours of my playtime of Elden Ring on PlayStation. I double dip. I'm not going to really double dip on Xbox because I don't really have a gaming library on there. PlayStation is more logical for me. Maybe I'll buy a game on Xbox when it's on sale, or if I want to play the game early, because, you can actually, use the New Zealand tactic in that regard. But PlayStation is where most of my gaming, as well as PC, lies. So what are we doing here? Why is the data so important? The data is important because we have a frame of reference. We're not just going to sit down and be talking nonsense about the gaming industry without any proof or without actually having anything to back up what it is that we're saying. We're not going to go out there and say things that are untrue, which I see a lot of people do, and these people have audiences, without any measure or any knowledge of what's going on. Not like the knowledge is some hidden thing, not like I'm an insider. We all have access to the exact same information that we talk about in this particular, context. And most importantly, guys, it gives us a really good reference as to where the industry is going, what games we can expect to continue being developed, and why the likelihood of some of our fan favorite games may or may not be something that is of interest to these companies. Remember my Bloodborne video that I did? I did that video solely based on the data set that we had, and people are challenging that data set, and it's basically been one of my favorite videos because I go back and read the comments and I'm like, man, these are some really good points. I've never played Bloodborne, by the way. I played it 10 minutes. I was like, I'm not playing it at 30 FPS. I own it. But no one in those videos asked me and said, have you beaten Bloodborne? Because that's not pertinent. We're trying to figure out why PlayStation is making a remaster for Horizon Zero Dawn, putting extra textures and charging $9.99. They did it for Uncharted. They've done it for most of their other games. They're bringing out a remake of Until Dawn, and we don't have anything about Bloodborne. That's a little disconcerting. So you need to go back and look at the data and then the context and all kinds of other things to give yourself an informed perception of what's going on. And the gaming industry relies heavily on secrecy. It's an industry that makes a lot of money, that takes a lot of money from you and me, and yet shrouds everything that it does as heavily as it possibly can. Now, they have reasons why they do this. Some for, competitive reasons, some for just making sure that they keep expectations realistic. But what we get is very valuable for us. So the amount of time I spend playing video games is nobody's business. Because if I haven't played the game, you would know if I talked about the game, or I will tell you I haven't played the game, but here's what I have in terms of concrete data surrounding the game. And if I played the game, I'll let you know. It doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't mean that, I'm less of a gamer or I'm less qualified to talk about the game if I haven't played all these games or whatnot, not with which I've played them and I've played a lot of hours. I mean, if we actually put hours in place and I, show you, and those are just a few games I just showed you guys. I haven't shown you my Street Fighter time. I haven't showed you my Mortal Kombat 1 time. I haven't showed you my Mortal Kombat 11 time. I haven't showed you my Arkham games time, So again, let's not go through this pedantic, this is nonsense. This is absolute nonsense. I had somebody ask me today, are you a shareholder or are you a gamer? What does that have to do with the data that we're seeing? The state of play almost sucked 100%. We're eating out for Sucker Punch. And yet we're going to look up to this. We're going to look into the ground and bury our head in the sand when we know right now that PlayStation is chugging along in game offerings, when we know that for the most part, all that they've done is pretty much put blinders over people's eyes using third-party money-hatted exclusives. That's basically going to eventually go down the road and smoke these third-party developers where they don't become profitable because they're not selling the game. They've harmed their brand. They've put a big, huge, incision in their brand knowledge and in their brand availability because PlayStation wants to sell, plastic units. And somehow we should just ignore all of that because we came here to play games. Okay, I can see maybe that there's like a fair, assessment to that. But here's the thing. These concerns are coming from people who have told me that the data and a lot of my theories and analyses were wrong or were not going to pan out. But now they want to back away from the conversation, seeing that everything that we've pretty much seen is kind of, in a sense, materializing. Now they want to back away. Don't back away. Let's go through this whole thing and see how it plays out. And let's be able to hold PlayStation accountable to see the best come out of their own competitive strategy. That's my goal. That's simply my goal. If my approach is probably too heavy for the ears or maybe it seems too abrasive, then okay, it's probably just my style. But it doesn't reduce the veracity or, the impact of what it is that we're trying to figure out here. And this is where I've always had a problem in terms of being able to communicate these things with a lot of folk on the PlayStation side. This is my video. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate you guys so much. Peace out.